Happy New Year, Huskies, Husky Nation. 2023 is here. Welcome into a new edition of NIU Weekly. Got a good show for you. We're going to have our newest head coach, Sondra Parys, new Huskies head volleyball coach. She's going to join me. She was introduced on Tuesday to the crowd, to the fans. Looking forward to talking to Sondra. We're going to talk some gymnastics. Sam Morreale, head gymnastics coach of NIU, is going to join us in this 12th season. They got off to a nice team win. They beat Bowling Green this past Sunday. Some nice individual scores as well. So we're going to talk to Sam about that. So a little volleyball and gymnastics this week. Let's recap a little bit what's going on. And basketball, men's and women's basketball got back at it after the holidays. They got back at it last week in MAC play, and the men were on the road taking on some really tough teams, Akron and Kent State, two of the most challenging MAC venues. Tough way to start conference play. They went out there. For the women, a tough loss at Central Michigan, but then NIU comes right back under head coach Lisa Carlson, and they get a win at home. They were down 17 points to start the fourth quarter on Saturday, taking on the Toledo Rockets. They come back and win by one. It was a huge team effort. So women's able to come back, get a win here at the Convocation Center. Wrestling, they competed to end 2022 at the Midlands tournament. And it was great to see Isaac Olenek earning a podium finish. Huskies also split a pair of dual matches in California last weekend, as their dual meet record stands at 5-3, and they are 2-0 in the MAC so far. So a nice start for wrestling. NIU gymnastics, I talked about it on Sunday. They defeated Bowling Green. Sam Morreale, one of the best opening season scores in recent history for gymnastics. They got not just a win, but a conference win. We'll talk more of Sam about that coming up here on NIU Weekly. But first things first, let's talk a little volleyball. Talking about things that are new, we now have the newest head women's volleyball coach at NIU. Sondra Parys is joining us. And then Sondra, congratulations. I know it was announced late December. I know you've been on campus a little bit, introduced on Tuesday, but I'm sure you just got to be excited and be happy in DeKalb, to be in town and be ready to get going.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just finally being here, meeting people, getting involved in the community, and everyone has been super, super warm, warm welcome, and yeah, I'm even more excited to meet the team. I'm going to meet a few of them kind of here and there, and really looking forward to that piece as well.
So, Sondra, first things first, why was this the perfect fit for you at NIU?
Yeah, perfect fit is exactly that. I think when looking for your first head coaching job, especially coming from a place that you enjoyed, it had to be that, right? And I played in the conference. I think the MAC, especially MAC volleyball, is one of the strongest in the country, and only going to continue to get better. And I loved playing in that conference, and I think that a school like NIU can have a lot of great success in it. And I think having that ability to win and to compete day in and day out is an awesome thing to be able to walk into as a head coach. And then, an obvious reason is my parents both went here. It's been, a huge part of my heart being already kind of instilled into this place, and it being a huge, a why for me without me even realizing it until I went into this process. And yeah, no, I'm excited to be rooted in a place that's already been a huge part of my life. So
let's talk about your background again. You played at Toledo. You coached on the high school level, in college, a lot of success, assistant coach at Loyola Chicago. Talk about your background, when you start to fall in love with volleyball, and even when did you want to become a coach? After playing, when did you know coaching is something you wanted to do?
Yeah, I didn't actually know that when I went to school, but I kind of always figured I would work with people, and it makes sense exactly why I'm here. My parents as well were a huge part of my foundation. My mom coached me growing up, and my dad did actually as well, in two different sports. And so they're both, teachers and leaders and coaches. And I think that just kind of provided, the space for me to at least explore this. And so yeah, I started coaching in college, and I think I immediately enjoyed just being able to give back to, the youth, and really connect with, young girls, and give them, maybe something I didn't necessarily get in a high school experience or a college experience. That excited me the most about coaching, is to be able to provide something different than I maybe got. And yeah, I think once you get the taste of it and you start to see success as well, you realize that this is something that, you're meant to do. And My collegiate coaching career has been a lot of that, and it was really hard to ignore that. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. And, I just kind of have trusted my gut and the people around me as well there to continue to do it and I'll ultimately do it as, a leader of a program. And I'm really excited to kind of take my career to another level there.
You've had success, championships at Loyola Chicago. What can that bring, that experience of championship experience? Well, how can you bring that to NIU and help you here?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's unique to be able to see what works and what doesn't, when you have had success and also seasons of, not perfect, success as well. And I've been unique in a sense of every job I've come into, I've come in with a new head coach and have turned programs around in a sense. And I think because that's the only experience I've really gotten as a coach that I'm confident that I can do that as well. And it takes time. Sometimes it takes a year, sometimes it takes 5, and really having the right athletes, the right mentality, and then a staff as well. I think the dynamic of your coaching staff and it was a huge part of our success at Loyola, and something I want to definitely continue to do in my time here.
And I won't be the first, I won't be the last, because you were a big part of recruiting at Loyola Chicago.
Yeah.
What's the recruiting process? What you want? What type of player do you want here at NIU?
Yeah, I'm excited to learn more about what type of student athlete thrives the best here, because I've seen that when they are happy, not just in the gym but in their total experience, you're more likely to retain them, and also just get the best out of them, on a day to day. So really, obviously recruiting a high level athlete as far as the volleyball piece goes, kind of being able to develop them in time here as well, but also the right person, culturally for our team and, for the school. So ultimately they are able to have a good, experience here, in all facets. And I think when you find the right person that can fit all of those things, they're more likely to be retained and succeed. So I kind of am looking for both things there.
You mentioned your family. Your dad played basketball here at NIU. Your mom was a cheerleader. What was their first thought that went through their mind when you said, "Hey, I'm going to be at NIU. I'm the coach"?
I think my mom cried. If my dad, did, he wouldn't tell me he did, but he's been a very, big, just competitive presence in my life, and he wants nothing but the best for us. And I think seeing how proud both of my parents were in that moment was something I'll never forget. And I also really appreciated that they, regardless of where I went in my career, they were going to be supportive. And they really, truly tried to make it as objective as possible, even though they obviously had a lot of heart in this place. And, they allowed me to make the decision on my own. And, when I did, they obviously were over the moon about it. And they cannot wait to be a part of, what I do here and be on the sidelines again. So.
And Victory Court in a special place too, and a quaint, quiet, small gym, not quiet, gets loud, and it's a unique atmosphere. And again, you've been around, you've seen some of it. It'd be interesting to see, it'd be great to see a coach in Victory Court in such a unique arena.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I remember the first time I played there, it was intimidating for sure. And I'm excited it's kind of crazy to think that I'm going to be in that environment again and just around, the MAC in general. But, as a head coach, it's definitely going to be a lot of flashbacks sometimes, I'm sure, but things I'm just very excited for.
No, what's next? You talked about getting able to talk some of the team. I know you're trying to get coaches together. What's the next 2 or 3 months look like for you, Tom?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's learning the team and filling the gaps. It's not necessarily, coming in and completely changing something or starting from ground zero. I think it's learning what we're doing well already and being able to refine it from there. So I'm excited to pour into the girls now that I have this spring, the ones returning, and learn from them as well as kind of bring my own twist to it, and just find what's going to be the best way for us to work together. And then ultimately finding, some teammates for them to allow us to continue to compete at a higher level. Definitely have some roster needs to fill that I'm looking to do this spring. And yeah, get working with, whoever is going to be by my side and making sure that those pieces are put in place. And, we're starting strong and with the right things and core values in mind, because I think a foundation for anything is super important. And so starting strong and, the things that matter most is what I'm looking to do in my first few months.
Well, congratulations. Looking forward
Thank
to it.
you.
Looking forward to the journey. And it starts now. Good luck. And I'll see you around campus. And
Yes.
really looking forward to see what happens with this team.
Awesome. Thanks, Andy.
From the newest head coach, Sondra Parys, to one of the veterans, Sam Morreale, now in his 12th season as head coach of NIU Gymnastics. And Sam, it's great to get you on. And we'll talk about the nice win. That was a nice opening score, Sam. It's one of the highest opening scores to start out the season in recent history. I know you got to be happy about that. But first things first, let's talk about one team, one dream, and that theme and that motto. And what does that mean to this team in 2023?
Yeah, and I mean the team always comes up with the motto, like the leadership group, the captain, stuff like that. So that's kind of the one they came up with this year. One team, one dream. I love it because again, the goal with us, we're very team oriented, we're very group oriented. I'm not a big fan. I hate talking about like the one kid to watch. Like I want us, we're gonna get to where we want to go when we're all going. So I'm a big fan of the pack mentality, all that kind of coach speak. So again, the one team, one dream definitely encompasses that for us. The trick becomes, what is that dream? Because I also don't want it just to be one faceted, you know what I mean? Like we've got a couple different dreams and goals. So the kids are kind of challenged with, the athletes are challenged with kind of, how does it apply to each meet? How does it apply to each week? How does it apply to each practice? Kind of, they've tied some of our overreaching mantras of, be the next hit, one routine at a time, things like that, and kind of encompass that into that motto. So, the beauty of it is, I kind of challenged them to come up with that one dream, but I felt like that was almost selling us short. So the fact that they're able to kind of create more facets to it, I think is a good thing. So it has a little bit of flexibility as well. But it's also, as a coach, you kind of all want to be funneling in that same direction. So, that's kind of where I feel like the biggest tie is going to be into what we're trying to do each week.
Yeah. Let's talk about a team goal. And you guys won it, MAC Championship 2019. Nothing the COVID in 2020. 2021, 2022, you finished second. You've been right there, Sam. Yeah. What's it take? What do you guys, is our mentality of trying to finish off business, Sam, or you guys don't even talk about that?
No, yes. I mean, and again, last year it was a 10th and a half. Like it was attainable. So again, I feel like, our goal has always been to get this team to be competing year in, year out for a MAC championship. And I feel like we're there. But again, second is, coach speak, first losers, right? So yeah, we have unfinished business, but again, I think the bigger thing for us is that regional berth, that team, that's kind of, not to jump ahead, but that's kind of what we're kind of focused on as well, which we feel like that is part of being a MAC champ, right? Like we're going to have to be at a certain scoring clip, a certain level to be able to be a regional team, which will then also take care of that championship. But it's a fresh start. It's a new team. It's a new group. So, I don't know that it's unfinished business as much as it's an again, luckily we've gotten to where that's an expectation, the one, that 194.7 yesterday, that, when I took over was, we would have been dancing in the streets, right? And that would have been like the end all, like we just won it all. Right. And I think that's another sign of the program where it's awesome. And we're not going to discount the positives from that, but it's just scratching the surface of what we want to be and who we want to be. So it's, like I try as hard as I can to find the positives, right? We talk about that 195. That's our kind of magic number. We were right there, meet one. So you got to feel good about it. But the coach in me is like, how can we not? There was only 3/10. We could have found that to get that 195 in the first one, right? So, some of that is I got to learn to be satisfied sometimes, or at least enjoy the moment a little more, right? But no, it was a great start. One of our goals is to win the regular season, 1-0 in the MAC. You got to take care of each and every meet as they come. So, again, a little nervous starting the season with a counting meet for us, right? Because that matters there, even though the score might not matter. We took a step in the right direction.
Yeah, let's talk more about that Sunday meet as you guys beat Bowling Green overall on the team. But what did you see? What were the positives that stood out for you on Sunday versus Bowling Green?
The positives were, again, you want to be the team you train like, right? You want to be that team. And again, based on everything we've done leading up to this week, we felt like we could top that 194 mark. We felt like, and again, when you break it down, that's a 9.7 on each athlete, 48.5 on each event. So we surpassed that. So again, I feel like in our process and in our steps, we're right on track to where we want to go and how we want to get there. So that was the first thing, compete as you practice. The next part that I truly enjoyed is we looked comfortable. We looked mid-season form as far as how we were doing stuff. The mechanics of, and it's background stuff, right? The mechanics of how we move through a meet with a new group of freshmen, right? We lost that senior leadership from last year. Yeah. Our big thing is you got to be dialed in, even if you're not in the meet, even if you're not being counted on for a score, you're going to be counted on for other things. So you're not there as I kind of teased them the day before. I'm like, if you want to watch, I'm all for it, but I'm going to put you up in the stands. I don't need you to be an observer down on the floor. So that was something that, it's one of those intangibles of that togetherness kind of stuff, right? But you want everybody kind of, again, Husky analogy, pulling the sled the same direction. Like you want all of that. And that was the other thing we got. And then again, the bar squad, squad shined, but the sad truth, we expect it. Chris Weiss has done an awesome job as, helping on bars and actually taking over a little more of the leadership stuff there. And we're also very blessed to have a great group of athletes on bar. And we're ready to go. So we've got some aspirations event wise too, where we want to be a top 5 to 10 team on bar. So overall, we definitely saw some things we can improve. We definitely saw some things that were awesome, right? So now it's complacency. Don't rest on that. I'm still going to make you practice, right? We still got to get better. 9.85 is awesome, but what about that 9.9? So, and again, that's why the kids love me and they hate me at the same time, because we'll come in today and we're going to talk about those good things, but we want to clean up some of that other stuff.
Speaking of 9.9, we saw with Natalie Ham on the bars. Me and you've talked about it getting ready for the broadcast. She wants to be an All-American. She started out the way you want to be and can be with a 9.9 on the bars on Sunday.
Oh yeah. No, and that is, and like I told her after the meet, she was super nervous yesterday. And I don't know if it's senior season last time around, all those things. So I think getting that success under her belt is going to help her moving forward. And again, like the sad truth for a kid like Nat is if she doesn't go 9.9, we're disappointed in her. And that stinks, but it's also awesome, right? That's kind of the expectation. Now we talked right after that. You're going to have a bad day. You're bound to. Don't let that affect you too much. But that 9.9 is definitely where we want to start. And she sets the tone for our group.
Yes.
Like, even though she's the anchor and the last kid up, like we talk about setting the table, right? There's a strategy sometimes to how you build your event lineup. And again, if you're that 1 through 5 kid, your part of your job is to set that 6th kid up to just knock it out of the park. Because if they do their job, for lack of a better way to put it, you put the judges in a trap. Like, if now this routine is better, you have to go higher with the score. So that's kind of the logic, but not that she couldn't be first up and score that. That's the great thing too. I would love to see what the judges would do with that if we started there. Would they reward that, or would they be like, well, first kid up can't throw the 9.9 now, but I also don't want to, it's not an experiment that I want to ruin her, her chances with. Right. So no, but super proud of her. And again, she's just that good, and she's proven that the last 3 seasons. She didn't get to compete at a MAC championship as a freshman in 20, right? But she could have been, right? So, she could be going on a 3-time defending kind of thing as opposed to a 2-time, but we'll take what we get.
From a senior to a sophomore, and Isabella Cece, and she was an all-arounder on Sunday. What did you see from Isabella? And she kind of leads a sophomore class that you have high expectations for. Is that correct?
Yeah. I mean, we've kind of talked in the past. I talk all the time, like that sophomore class is going to carry us, right? Now we're going to get kids like Natalie and Alyssa Alashari and Brooklyn Shears, and a couple freshmen are going to step up and do things. So it's not like we're not going to get, but that is where kind of the most, and arguably the most routines are coming from. Yes, Izzy leads that class. And she had a great day yesterday. What she showed is what she shows every day in practice.
Yeah.
She's also one of those kind of rare athletes that, when you get in a meet, sometimes kids protect and change and it's different. She's the opposite. Like you flip that switch and she shines. Like we call her a gamer. Now my thing with her from day one in the recruiting process is I'm all for being a gamer, but if you don't prove it to me daily, you're not going to get that option to be a gamer because I'm not going to trust you. So she does the work day in and day out to be in that position to then kind of go in and be that gamer. But she's, again, great leadoff meet for her. Yeah. Breaking that 39 is, again, as an all-arounder, that's that number you kind of chase. It wasn't hard for her to get there. She just did what she does. And she's a kid who is, I expect big things from her this year, gymnast of the year, things like that. But the good thing for me is I got other kids that are going to push her in that. So if she wants that, yeah, she can get it, but she's going to have to earn that the whole way because we've got other kids that are going to push her from inside to be that best all-arounder or that best vaulter or that best, so the internal competition, and I'm sure you hear that a lot from us coaches, the internal competition, the depth we can build. Yeah, 8, 9, and 10 in our roster don't get the to shine in a meet. They don't get to perform. But if they're not doing their job, my top 7 are not going to be sharp, right? If that makes any sense.
Moving forward, talk a little bit about the schedule overall, the look ahead, because again, that was one of 6 MAC meets, and you got other things on the schedule. Yeah. But what highlights that schedule moving forward?
Again, coach speak for you, my friend. One week at a time. Iowa State's next. Big 12, they're going to be tough. We're going out to them. It is kind of on a neutral site, which will be kind of different. But so measuring stick meet for us, right? Boneyard victory meet for us. All those, catchphrases we use. For us, it's a chance to get better. For us, it's a chance to see. And again, our score that we're trying to be better than is the 194.725. I think it was something like that, 75. I can't remember exactly. So that's what we're trying to do. Then we come back the following week with Central. Central was picked as, MAC favorites in our conference. We're a lowly 5th, but we'll take it. It is what it is. It's nice bulletin board material. I feel like and again, some of that stuff is you don't know what you're voting for, so you vote. But they're always perennially at the top of our conference. They are coached very well. They've got a great squad. If we want to win the conference, we got to go through them, right? They're defending conference champs, things like that. So I really don't want to get too far out, but that's the 2 we want to talk about. And then from a fan standpoint, can't not talk about our Beauty and the Beast on February 4th. Gymnastics and wrestling at the same time, circus atmosphere, something for the whole family. There's something going on everywhere. And that's I love that event just from the standpoint of it is definitely our most attended meet from a fan standpoint because of the wrestling ad. So it's just so many people that it does put some extra pressure on the kids in a good and bad way, right? Where you want that pressure, right? Yeah. But so no, that would be the next one we're super excited about. And then again, you said the MAC is a very competitive conference. No, you can't sleep on any team in the MAC, right? So all of those meets become important along the way, but again, we want to be undefeated. You can only be undefeated if you beat everybody, right? So they're all important. Last meet of the year, Michigan State is probably that other, again, it's always nice to step outside your conference. It's always nice to step, arguably up right? The rankings chain because, not only is Iowa State perennially in the top 25, so is Michigan State. They were a Cinderella team last year who, basically, I think they were second in the Big Ten. I don't want to undersell them, so they might have been first. And they have aspirations to go to the Final Four, right? So they feel like they can get there. So that's a great measuring stick test for us right before conference championships. So
we mentioned some names, some gymnasts, but are there some other names we haven't mentioned, Sam, we should keep an eye on as we move forward?
We talked about Hamp. I mentioned Alashari. She's going to be a solid kid who challenges Nat every week on bar and then is our beam anchor. Brooklyn Sears, another senior who right now only doing 2 events for us, but has been an all-arounder all 3 of the seasons. We're just easing her into stuff. She's got some nagging injuries going on. Another senior who we haven't really ever talked about a lot is Kira Ryan. Kind of a zero to hero for, she's finally that kid that when we met her as a junior in high school, she is finally that kid we met and recruited. The path through college gymnastics is pretty difficult, right? And you have injuries and you cycle through and maybe sometimes you hit some lows. She had some lows her freshman, sophomore years. She decided she wanted it to be different. She's a great story from the standpoint of just worked her tail off to get herself viable. And not only is she viable on events, she's got lineup spots. Yeah. So those guys, and then I guess Samantha Nickel, freshman, she's another girl kind of in the same realm as Brooklyn, where right now just bar beaming for us, but is in training is my best vaulter. In training is one of my top 3 floor kids. So as she gets healthy again, that's going to raise those 2 events up as well. So, sky's blue, man.
Oh, man.
Sky's not cloudy here. We're super excited. Game day practice day Monday after a day like yesterday is awesome. Yes. Just because everything's good, right? But again, I know we can get more, and I know we'll have a chip on our shoulder.
Hey, I mentioned it's one of the top opening season scores in a long time. You guys did a great job, and I know now you're getting ready for the next one. We appreciate the time. Looking forward to some more ESPN Plus broadcasts as well. And hey, keep going. All right, you got to go undefeated. You got to win the next one.
Yes, appreciate you, Andy, and everything you do for us in the department. And 789. You didn't get to yell out any numbers yesterday on the broadcast. I watched it, but we get you out of your comfort zone a little. You still do all right.
Hey, I appreciate the time.
All right, buddy. Take care. Go Huskies.
It was great to talk to Sondra Parys, Sam Morreale. Really looking forward to what Sondra can do with volleyball, and Sam Morreale in gymnastics off to a great start as they get ready to go on the road. The schedule this week, be at the Combo on Saturday, January 14th for a Husky Hoops doubleheader beginning at 1 p.m. Husky women take on Ohio, followed by NIU Toledo men's game right after the women's. Also, women's tennis is in action all weekend at the Nelson Tennis Center at Chick Evans Fieldhouse with the NIU Husky Winter Invitation that's coming up this weekend. And women's track and field opens 2023 with an indoor meet Saturday at Illinois State. Also, beginning this week and each Thursday through January and February, join us at 6 p.m. at Fatty's Pub and Grill. Every Thursday, 6 p.m., Fatty's Pub and Grill for the Inside Husky Basketball radio show with head coaches Rashawn Burno, Lisa Carlson, as well as student-athlete guests. I'll be hosting. Looking forward to it. Be on the radio, but also come out and see us at Fatty's Pub and Grill on Thursday night, 6 p.m. for the Inside Husky Basketball radio show. That'll wrap things up. Special thanks to Sondra Parys and Sam Morreale for joining me this week. Don't forget, subscribe to this NIU Athletics YouTube page. A whole bunch of highlights, post-game conferences, highlights, and game replay. Everything's here at NIU Huskies and NIU Athletics YouTube page right here. And don't forget, NIUHuskies.com for all the tickets, all the schedules, any other information. The news is at NIUHuskies.com. Thank you for joining us on NIU Weekly. Until next time, go Huskies.